Hello, everyone. Here we are, Tipsy
hey.
Realtors. And actually, hang on, we're going to bring our camera out and then in again because I didn't realize I didn't do that before we started.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So today,
The photo is better. It looks skinnier.
today we are doing the old friend, and we are talking about what to get or what to expect from a real estate agent when they're representing you as a buyer. So what you can expect, and that's why we have an old friend, because they're like an old friend giving you
That's right.
advice.
Exactly.
So, but we're gonna start with the cocktail, of course, the old friend. So we're starting with.
I hope the old friend is much better. Whatever we were drinking last week, you totally missed out. You should recreate it just so you can feel how much disgustingness goes in there.
Well, so this one we're starting with a shaker full of ice.
Yes.
And then we just got a basically normal cocktail glass to the side, a rocks glass. And you can see on here, it's a pretty basic, what's it called? Recipe. Not too much kind of.
No, just a bunch of liquor in.
Just a bunch
and
of
shake
liquor.
it, shake it.
So 1.5 of gin.
Oh wow, it's a big drink.
It's a big drink.
Yeah.
And then we are doing 1/3 of an ounce of Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur.
Yeah, so it's nice and floral. It has a sweetness to it.
And then we're going with the bitter liqueur, which Anna seemed traumatized by.
I'm traumatized. We actually even tried it straight last time just to see.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
No, but we didn't like the drink. We like something in the drink was like really off. Maybe it's banana, maybe it's like apple slices, and then we drink that straight and figure out that was ruining the drink.
All right, well let's see if round 2 with that liqueur is good.
All right. I feel like you did something wrong. Like there was no ice shaking or anything. This was a dry shake. Dry. Yes, it's like only it's the third last episode of season 5.
I know. Can you believe that?
Countdown begins officially. Season 5 is coming to the end.
So I will say I like the pink kind of look to it, the pink tone to it. It makes it look so
like
cute.
Milky pink. Oh, but look, then
it dies out. And then we bought, actually, so one thing I love about summer and stuff like that is I always grow edible flowers. So we got some edible flowers to put in there.
All right.
And here we go.
It is cute pink. So mine's been sitting for a couple of minutes and it's kind of now like not milky pink. But cheers.
Cheers. Let's see.
Let's try it. Old friend.
Old friend.
Let's see if it's a nice old friend. Yeah, see, like that's what
bitter.
Yeah, that's that bitter, and it's also really, really sweet, which I feel like makes the drink even sweeter because elderflower is sweet, and then this is bitter and like it's like a syrup.
It's like a sweet Negroni. This one.
Well, it's like syrup with bitters.
Syrup with bitters.
I would put a little bit more juice in it, maybe like so I can maybe taste less of that. I don't know, but I feel like that liquor is just ruins everything.
I think if you like Negroni, I think you'd like this. If you like a Negroni, you like Campari, you like that apparel on its own, then I think it would be a great drink.
Like, I won't say like I love Negronis, but I do like Negronis. But there is just something off of me. I did thought an idea to make. We Michelle and I were talking about making a slushy with that. Okay. Like actually, like put it in the blender. And like that might be actually something would be good, but we just and I definitely tasted it. And I was talking to my husband. I was like, what I'm gonna do with a bottle of this?
We'll find cocktails.
Yeah, it's like one of my girlfriends. I was this week. She's like, what did you guys do last night? She's like, well, I had like a whole bunch of friends stop over, and they're like, what do you have for drinks? And she's like, I had like basically nothing stocked. I need to restock my fridge. So I took everything out of my liquor cabinet that nobody wanted to drink, and then we made party out of it.
Did you? Oh my!
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure everybody had hangovers. Like
when I was younger, we used to call that a yuccaflex. We just pour everything everybody has into a big container.
The juice did not make this better. Anyway, but let's talk about the better part. What to expect working with the buyer's agent. And what we talked about? We talked about what to expect we're buying for sale by owner. What to expect working with a builder, I believe.
What to expect in buying with a builder, yeah.
Yes. So now what to expect buying with a buyer's agent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So really the big thing about this is, so you've gone and you've said, "Hey, I'm going to buy a house." And you've decided to hire an agent, but you really need to understand what that agent is going to do for you. And I know everyone thinks they get it. Everyone thinks they understand it, but there's actually a very kind of deep fundamental thing, and this is always my big thing that I'm a huge believer in
Do you want
is, no, it's okay. Is the fact that you
dogs?
actually get 6 fiduciary responsibilities. So fiduciary
Mm.
means that they're legally obligated to give you these duties. And what's an unfortunate thing is every agent should know these off by heart. They are very simple, they are very easy. They spelled old car: obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accountability, and reasonable care and skill.
So like old with the old car.
Yeah.
Old friend with the old car.
Old friend with an old car. But the one thing to understand is when they say obedience, obedience means they have to follow your lawful instructions. Now you'll say, well, of course they do. But I'm telling you, they don't get to decide what they can and cannot do if it's lawful. If you want to go forward with an offer and they don't agree with you, they don't get to say no to you.
Right.
If you want to put in a home inspection or a sale of buyer's home condition, they don't get to tell you no. They just have to put the offer in that you want them to present. They obviously will give you their opinion and their suggestion, but at the end of the day, it's up to you as to whether or not you follow that.
Yeah, that's part of like a reasonable care and skill fiduciary duty. That's where we do the advice. This is where we apply our expertise in the same situations. Like this is what worked the best. However, if you don't want to, we do have to follow your instructions.
Now, if they're not lawful, like if you want to not disclose something or you want them to withhold something that is not allowable, they can't do that. If they're not reasonable to the transaction, so you want them to you want your agent to run around wearing a tutu that is not reasonable to the transaction, we don't have to do that.
Yes, it has to be kind of real estate related. Although if I am like selling, a theater, I might put a tutu on.
Maybe if it's a theater, but I'm just saying. So then we have loyalty. That means that their interests come above all else, including your own. Now that means that they're loyal to you and you alone. So that means only your interests matter. So here's one thing that I always hate when I hear realtors say this is they're working with the buyer and they say, well, I don't want to put in an offer because the seller will get offended. The seller is not your priority. The buyer's agent has absolutely no loyalty to the seller whatsoever. So they don't care how the seller thinks. They don't care how the seller feels. Again, they can give you advice. And I always like the one with you can start your negotiations off with a slap in the face or a punch in the face. A punch in the face, don't be shocked if you get a punch in the face back, but that is how things go.
True story.
Yeah, so you should start with a slap, but if you start with a punch, they might punch back. So don't be upset if they punch back. So those are the things again where we offer advice, but at the end of the day, if you want us to go in with a punch in the face, we go in with a punch in the face because our loyalty is to you and to you alone. Disclosure, what we know, you know. We don't get to decide what information is important to tell you. We tell you everything. So lots of times we'll start with our conversations and say, I know you don't care, but because it's not our job to decide if the house having a death in it is relevant to you. It's our job to tell you that we know that the house had a death in it and tell you, and then you tell us what to do.
And sometimes like I find in people, like we obviously have this kind of like interviewing part where we talk about what's important, what's not important, like where you guys want to buy. But when that information comes up, we still will tell you once again, because sometimes people do change their mind, and sometimes certain things important with the certain properties and not important with others, right? Because you have to outweigh where you want to live with and where you want to live without in those instances. Yeah.
So confidentiality is
yes.
the next one. We keep all your secrets. And when we keep all your secrets, that means that we never tell them the amount that you're willing to pay unless you tell us to tell them the top amount you're willing to pay or anything personal about you. We will have to tell them obviously if you can't get financing because that's pertinent to the transaction as a buyer. If you can't get financing and you want us to put in an offer, that one, we have to do it, but we will have to disclose to them that you physically can't get financing.
Right.
It is pertinent to the transaction.
And I also we also tend, well, unless we have a permission from the buyer or the seller to disclose why you're buying and why you're selling. that the reasons for your purchase and the reason for your sale also stays confidential at all times, because sometimes the situations could be dicey, could be quite emotional, and we don't want the other side to take advantage of it, knowing that, to negotiate a better deal.
Absolutely. So, accountability. If you give us something like a deposit check, if you say you want it back at any point in the transaction, we may tell you what'll happen if you want it back, or how to get it back and what it could do to the transaction. But
Mhm.
our job is to go get it back. So if you say, hey, I want my deposit back, and we say, hey, you still have conditions and we can't get your deposit back without you waiving conditions. So if you want your deposit back, you need to what's called as non-waive conditions and cancel the transaction, and then we can get your deposit back. So we'll tell you the process to get it back. But if you say you want it
Yeah.
back, we go get it back. We just have to also go through the paperwork to make sure you get it back in a lawful way.
I think there is I think what the most people do miss about the whole concept of buying or even the selling home, it goes both ways, is the process. There's a process for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you decide you want something, it doesn't mean it's a yes or no. Sometimes it's a process to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is
And
exactly it.
that's what I'm feel like for the last like month, all my transactions, I'm explaining a process over and over and over
Yeah,
again to people because they try to skip something. I was like, no, no, no. You have to do this. This is how it's done. But why? I want it now. I was like, it's a process.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is reasonable care and skill. We actually have to know how to do our job. We have to be competent, and we have to exercise that competency while working with you.
Yeah. Well, the fact that we're still kicking around 26 and 20 years later,
27.
or 27, you just age yourself by about a
I
year.
know.
But yeah, basically for a very long time, again, in I think in the industry, which is like it's a self motivator, self goer, you have to beat your own drum and keep marching on and carry the torch for all the others. It's like, that's, well, it is like, there is nobody calls Robin and say, Robin, did you do your calls today? And,
Well,
uh,
you and Anna, you and Charlene can sometimes.
well, but
Sometimes they yell at me and they're like, Robin, did you do this? Robin, did you do
well,
this?
that's because it's already outstanding, not because like we're following up. What do you do the following day? If you don't show up, you don't show up. So I think in when you spend, I would say if anybody survives over 5 years in this industry
100%.
as an independent contractor is amazing. And if you work full-time agent, the experience that you get of working full-time on both sides, being seller's agent and buyer's agent, is just like you cannot get it anywhere else.
So I'll be honest. Here's the thing that I find funny, and this is honestly the same. And if you look it up, it is the same in every industry, and it's the same in ours. When you're first new, you're inexperienced in those first 3 to 5 years. Absolutely inexperienced. So you'll make mistakes because you don't know, you don't know. Then, usually, from about 5 to 13 years, you're competent enough to be dangerous. And this is actually the same in every industry. So agents are actually the most dangerous in their 5 to 13th year because they think they know it all.
What do you mean
And
dangerous? Dangerous
like
to
dangerous,
good?
well, no,
It's like,
dangerous in the
what do
way
you-
that they'll make
like they make mistakes,
they'll
but
make mistakes
because they're
and not because they're
overconfident.
overconfident.
Okay.
They'll make mistakes and then they'll not realize they're making a mistake because they're so confident, but they're still incompetent and they haven't realized that yet.
Yeah.
Then you get kind of past that 13-year mark.
Now you're just jaded.
Well, no, not jaded, but you actually get past that 13-year mark and you realize you don't know a ton of crap, but you're competent. So it actually inverts. And it's funny because you start after 13 years realizing you don't know it all and you're not actually, you don't feel like you're competent, but you don't feel competent. So you're always trying to second guess and make sure because you made all those mistakes from 5 to 13 years where you thought you were competent and realized you weren't competent.
I do find that I more often now, I would say, no, I don't know the answer to this, but I know how to get the answer.
Exactly.
And we're like back in the day, I would never say that. Like, yeah, of course I know the answer.
Exactly.
I'll like, pull it out of my anyway. And just out of air. And then I was like, oh, that was not the right answer. And then you have to pedal back and find the right
Well, and
answer.
maybe that's what it is
Yeah.
once you're in the industry longer, you're so willing to be like, yeah, I don't know this, and be okay with it. Where
Yeah.
when you're in that kind of middle year, it's like you're trying to show everyone you know everything, or you're smart and you're
It's
confident.
pretty much like honestly impossible to know everything
Oh,
in
totally.
real estate
And
because
it changes so much
we're
so
dealing with
fast.
people. We're dealing with economic changes. We're dealing with contractual changes. We like dealing with just like general law and obligations of social society, like how we conduct. Even like as we're getting new agents, without like we grown what like 4,000 agents within the last 3 years, uh,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that the new wave of agents coming in with a little different expectations, how they communicate, how they do the business. Like honestly, this week, no, last week, first time ever I've done entire negotiating deal over email.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, I would never.
because every other way was failing in communication.
Really?
So, and I found if I emailed, or like obviously you have to email very concise in a nice, kind way, like the agent on the other side responded way better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, another thing to know too is that your buyer's agent is going to be. I call it like your real estate project manager. So I do feel like we're kind of a project manager when
Yeah,
we're running the
that's right.
transactions. We're making sure that the mortgage broker is on track. We're making sure the lawyer is on track. We're making sure the home inspector's on track. We're making sure like the buyer's doing what the buyer needs to do. So we're sitting there and we're coordinating your entire transaction. We're coordinating getting you into houses to be able to see them. We're coordinating making sure everyone has the documents that they have. We're coordinating. Sometimes we're coordinating your emotional, taking you off a ledge and saying it's okay.
Yeah. Sometimes we, if you give us permission, we work very closely with the mortgage brokers, home inspectors, and the lawyers to make sure that information that is communicated is not misunderstood. Sometimes it happens.
A lot of times too is this is what I love about buyers is a lot of time with buyers. So when we go looking at houses with buyers, I love walking in, and it's as much as you can tell me what you want in a house. When you walk into the house and you start seeing physical kind of reactions to parts of homes, to cabinets, to whatever, and people trying to explain to you how they feel, and they're like, I don't know, this house seems so dark. And I'm like, oh, you like white cabinets. Got it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I don't know, I need more sunlight. And you're like, the house is beaming with sunlight. You don't like dark cabinets. You think dark cabinets are dark floors. So it's reading between their lines. And I'll be honest, like the house that we're standing in now,
Deciphering.
it is.
Yeah.
I walked into this house so many times with other clients, and I actually like I would argue with them. How do you not want to buy this house? This house is so amazing. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And then finally, I realized I like the house. So even realtors do it where I'm wandering through the house and I'm like, buddy. Or my other favorite thing is when they're like, oh, the house is too small. And you're like, this house is 2,200 square feet. Like, it's not small, but it's because the people have so much furniture. So now you're talking people past furniture and paint colors and,
Yes.
and trying to make them see that this is all changeable.
Yeah, because sometimes it's hard to see past the stuff in the house, how it's going to be yours, how it potentially can be better. Like that's kind of was with property I bought, right? It looked like a nightmare on MLS listing. We went through it and I'm like, oh my God. And then I walked out and I was like, if I completely repaint this house, modernize it, there's like put like more modern lights in it and make that lake vibe happening.
Yeah.
Like our paint was 50K for entire house, so that was a lot of painting.
That's a
You can
lot
just
of
imagine, including the ceiling trim, the cabinetry, everything. But now, like, it's a beautiful home. But it's like when I walked, I was like, oh my God, like I don't think this is for us. But what helped me to, because I've done a lot of custom home building, home flipping, I've recognized that the floor plans, the bones, the floor plan and the walls and the heights of the ceilings actually were like really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And then, of course, we help you negotiate.
Yes.
But if you hire me and Anna, we're the best negotiators because we know how to give us punch in the face, but still make them happy at the end.
Yeah. just the way they like it.
Just the way they like
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So
Yeah, so that's like I think
that pretty
majority.
much covers
Yeah,
everything.
so there's a lot of things, but definitely we do a lot of management, and we do recognize how to work with each other agent properly, and like see that between the lines what each party wants
100%.
besides what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the
And
most
so
important.
I always say that's the art of real estate. Like anyone can throw paint on a canvas, but only what's his name? Banksy can sell it for millions. Real estate is the same way. As a realtor, the art is being able to read between the lines, being able to deliver bad news would make people feel good still at the end.
Yeah.
It's being able to see where you can push and see where you need to step back. And that kind of art comes from people who truly love what they do, like myself, Anna and Michelle, and actually take pride in what they do, and which is why you have to hire me, Anna, and Michelle.
Me, myself.
Me, myself, and I. Me, Anna, and Michelle. So, anyways, but
yes, so
we're getting close to the end of season 6, and next week we are doing the Sky High cocktail and having a high level talk. We're having another special guest on that one. High level talk with a real estate lawyer, what to expect, so you know what lawyers do in the background. But this week,
so this month is our last month, and we are giving away our last season 5
I can't wait. Those
gifts.
look so awesome.
Yeah.
I think whoever wins these needs to invite me over for margaritas. I will make the margaritas. You just have to bring the glasses.
The like metal inside keeps it clean. They do come with straws, and yeah, very nice and safe for the patio, lake, and stuff. And as an extra one, you guys getting our amazing Tipsy Realtor hat,
Tipsy Realtor swag.
Yeah, amazing for golf season.
I love the things for the sunglasses. I never even know those were on houses.
That's the best thing.
I said houses, but I meant hats.
But you know what? Like as a realtor, you can put a pan in there.
Oh, well, that's geeky.
Give your numbers away. Anyway, by the way, you guys win it. You love and like our show on all social media platforms. If you tag your friends and family, if you comment with the topics for the season 6 and or cocktails you want to see on season 6.
I thought comments get 2 entries.
Yeah, get 2 entries. And so all the love that you show we through Facebook Live, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. Every time we see it, we for this month of June, we get entered, and July 2nd, I believe, is our last show of the season where we gonna be drawing a winner.
Absolutely. And remember, if you have any friends or family, anyone you know, anyone you like, you dislike, neighbors, coworkers, anyone, have them give us a call when it comes to real estate. We do want to help them out. We are kind to all people, even if you don't like them.
If we don't like you,
it might be mutual. Yeah. But we are always here to help because we actually do think it's important to make sure that people make the best decision with the best information and the best decision for them, not for us.
The market is changing, and it's not the same for everybody. It's not the same for all the sellers. It's not the same all for the buyers. So you do need to know what's happening before you make a plan.
Absolutely. So
thanks for watching, you guys.
Thank you. We'll see you next week. Call us. Go to our website. Please make sure you come and see us, call us, contact us, send everyone to us. We would appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.